You hear us on your end?
Yeah, I sure can.
All right, perfect. We have Coach Phil Snow here to answer questions you guys have for him. Let's start with Skylar and then go to JB Riggs.
Hey, Phil. Scott Cowan with Sports Illustrated. I guess probably the biggest surprise through the first couple of games is your defense being seventh in pass against the pass with only 227 yards a game. Just kind of speak to the level of confidence that you have in your secondary, and then also how much the defensive line, that front seven, play in that pass defense.
Anytime that you play good, whether it be the run or the pass, 11 people have got to be a part of it. So, we're getting better each week. Hopefully that continues this week. And I think it's just we're starting to get comfortable in the package, and the guys are getting more confidence in themselves and with each other. They're starting to communicate with each other better. And then, we're getting the last two games, we've got a lot more pressure on the quarterback. And so all those things factor into playing good pass defense.
Hey, Coach, JB Riggs here from Spectrum News 1. Thanks for taking out the time. Jeremy Chin got rave reviews, in training camp, and it seems like it's translating well through these first 4 games of the season, and he's also getting high praise from fellow players throughout the league. We see what he's doing right on the field, but can you give us some insight to what he's doing behind the scenes, or maybe in film study or whatever it may be that we don't know about that's allowing him to be so successful this early in his career?
Well, Jeremy, he acts and does things a lot older than his age. You would think he's a veteran. I mean, he comes in, like this morning I was here early, and he was here early, eating breakfast before very, very few players were in the building. So, I think that's unique in that, he's a rookie, and he really knows how to handle himself and study. And I think that's a tribute to how he's been raised and brought up at home and in football. So I think the college coaches did a great job with him. So there's a lot of positives, Jeremy, and he's a great guy to have in our locker room.
Let's go to Jason Huber and then Mike Solarte.
Hey, Phil. I hope you're doing well. I'm wondering, what has been the biggest difference for Derek Brown from weeks 1 and 2 to now? 4 tackles for loss in these last 2 weeks. Just what have you seen that's kind of been that big improvement?
Well, I think he's getting off every play now, and he's using his hands a lot better. So he's recreating the line of scrimmage by getting off on the snap. And then, he's a big, powerful man. He's using his hands much better. So yeah, you're seeing that productivity now because of that.
Hey, Coach, Mike Solarte, Spectrum News 1. Good to see you again. The fact that you guys have gotten pressures the last couple of weeks, more pressures on the quarterback, especially last week with a guy as mobile as Kyler Murray was, you're removing Atlanta's removing some of that with Matt Ryan. He does not move like Kyler Murray. Is this advantage defense, or are you guys still kind of have to be wary because if they block it up right, he can throw the ball deep?
Yeah, he sure can. Ryan, he's an old pro now. He knows exactly what's going on out there. But again, if you don't pressure him, you're not going to have much success against him. So, there's the catch-22, and, hopefully we have the right mix.
All right, we'll go to Miles Simmons and then David Newton.
Hey, Phil, you sort of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but just how much do you think getting to know your guys a little bit better and just watching them play in the first few weeks of the season has helped you understand what their strengths are and be able to scheme with them?
Yeah, I think it helps a lot. And not only am I getting used to them, they're getting used to the system and what we do. So as if you come to practice, you can see that we're growing in confidence every day. And so, I hope that continues and that happens when you have success. So the better we get, the more confidence they'll get. So I'm hoping that continues this Sunday.
Hey, Joe, David Newton here. I wanted to ask you, and I asked Matt this yesterday, why do you think teams are scoring at such a high rate? They're on a record pace with 51.3 points a game combined. The defensive guy, what are you seeing?
Well, I think the biggest reason is, normally offensively when you go on the road, it's really hard to run an offense, especially on third down or if you have to check. with the crowd noise. Well, we're not having any crowd noise. So when teams go on the road, they're not at a disadvantage on offense. And, we count on that on defense, when you play at home. We count on that crowd noise where they can't get to what they want and it's hard to run their offense. And we don't have that right now. So I think that has led to some of the scoring.
Let's go to Joe Person and then Jonathan Alexander.
Phil, good to see you. I hope you're well. I was going to ask you about the kind of cornerback rotation you had. You thought you had Eli back last week, and then you didn't. Are you a little kind of, I guess, maybe cautious about wanting to disturb what's been a good thing with Dante and Rasul?
Yeah, I think both of them have played real well. But Troy's come in and played just fine. I mean, for a young rookie, he's doing fine. So we've got a good little rotation. It does hurt a little bit that Eli got nicked again, but he'll be back, and so we're doing fine.
Hey Phil, hope all is well. We talked with a couple of your players who said you were a traditional coach. I'm wondering, what is your philosophy as a coach, and who has influenced that philosophy?
Well, basically we talk about, everybody wants to talk about scheme and how you do things and all those things. And we talk about physicality and how hard we play and the details in what we do. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. So if we're really detailed at what we do and we play really fast and physical, then I think, you're going to play pretty good on defense. And, I'm fortunate at my age that I got really, back in the old days, that's what football was all about. There wasn't all the scheme. So it was about hard-nosed, physical, tough football, play as hard as you can and be detailed at what you do. And so I still think that, when you look at a game, the issue isn't the opponent, it's you. And so if we can concentrate on those things and play better at those things, practice that way, then we have a chance to play well. And that's kind of our emphasis.
And who influenced your thinking?
Well, just through the years, I had Jim Kreiner at Boise State. Even I worked for Jack Delbar in high school. He was the same way. All the coaches all the way through. Bruce Snyder was really influential on me. I worked for him for 14 years. But all the coaches, they didn't lose sight of what the game was. And now, everything is scheme and all that. And you've got to schematically be right. But a lot of the other stuff that you have to do is the old school ball, which is be physical and play hard and really be detailed. And you get that through practice. The harder you practice, the better and the better you practice, the better you're going to play. So that's kind of our, what we try to get done.
Let's go. Yeah, Steve, you can ask your question, then we'll go to Miles Simmons.
Hey, Phil, obviously you knew that the rookies were going to have to contribute for you. What was the approach? And they played really well so far. What was the approach that you took with, kind of bringing these guys along, teaching them the scheme? I don't know, did it take extra patience? Did it take limiting the playbook? How did you get these guys to play so well so quickly?
Well, I think the biggest thing is having no excuses. Guys make excuses, well, I'm playing with rookies. And I told the guys coaching them that in the National Football League, if you draft a guy in the second round, third round, fourth round, first round, they're going to play and they need to play right away. So we took that approach. And I've stressed to them, the other team doesn't care who you are playing. They don't care if you have a rookie. So we've just taken that approach, and I think the guys have grown up fast, and I think our vets have done a nice job of bringing them along and teaching them how to play and play at this level. So the combination of all that, and you're right. The four rookies we're playing, and we're playing some other rookies too, like Sam Franklin, and I'm real happy with the progress.
Phil, how, if at all, does it affect you guys if Julio Jones doesn't play?
Well, it does. I mean, Julio's really a good player, and you got to know where he is all the time. And really what it affects you is how you play the run, because you start stacking the box, and then you got big 11 out there that's going to, they're just going to throw the football to one-on-one. So he affects the whole football game. So it does affect, I don't care what defense you are, it affects you.
All right, guys, we have time for 2 more. So let's go to Elena and then finish with Mike Solarte.
Hey, Phil. I was wondering, someone we haven't really talked about a lot is Justin Burris. So I was curious, what has been your assessment of his play through the first 4 games, and what have you liked, and, what maybe does he need to improve on?
If you look at his background and history, he's been really a corner. And so he's evolved into the safety position the last 2 years. And so, like the last ball game, he really played physical. He has really good cover skills. He matches up well on tight ends. We matched him up on Fitzgerald last week. He really gives us some flexibility. But the physicality of the position, he's growing to really appreciate. And last week, I was really happy to see what he did physically. But he's made, I'm real happy with Justin. I think he's going to really become what he wants to become in this league.
Coach, a few responses ago, you talked about the getting off the line of scrimmage, playing hard-nosed football, and having your technique as sound as can be. You've seen so many players in your career. Is that what really sets apart the good from the great and the elite? Guys that can play at 100 miles an hour and be flawless in their technique. Or is there more to it than that?
Well, first of all, especially at this level and at any level, you have to have a certain ability to play real well. But then with that, you have to have the work ethic. And it's not just the field. You got to take care of your body. You got to be good in the weight room. But they come in and study, and then they practice at a certain level. There's no way you can be great and not practice at a high level. That's why I love that Michael Jordan's, that 10-part series. That's all they talked about in that whole deal. And, it was great to have other athletes in other sports hear how hard he worked and how detailed he was at what he did. And that's what all the great ones do, all of them.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time.
You bet. Thank you, guys.